It's called Hamar, and it's about like 90 minutes drive from Oslo. There's about 30,000 people that live there. Growing up, like you would look outside the window. There's like no one outside. There's just no one on the streets.
Welcome to Proudly Asian, a podcast series that tells bold and proud stories of Asians by Asians. My name is Isabel, your podcast host, and I'm here to find stories that challenge biases we face every day. There's never just one way to look at Asians. This podcast will take you through a deep dive into the life stories, struggles, and triumphs of young Asians around the world. On today's episode, we have Elin Fu, a Norwegian-Chinese content creator and co-founder of hospitality group Common Abode. Born and raised in a small town in Norway, Elin moved to Hong Kong in 2017 and has since launched multiple dining concepts, including a Nordic café. She joins us to talk about growing up in an immigrant family in Scandinavia and her journey celebrating her multicultural upbringing through food. Hello, Elin. Welcome to Proudly Asian.
Hello, thanks for having me.
How was your day?
It was good, busy, but good.
Yes.
And you?
I've been good, juggling a lot of stuff because this month is just going to be peak season for me. So just trying to get everything done while having enough sleep.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can relate because you do a lot too.
Yeah, March is always crazy. There's a lot of things happening in the city and just, I guess, work in general. It's always catching up on things.
Yes,
never-ending
Hong Kong
lists.
never stops.
Yeah.
So, for this episode, I'm actually really, really excited because you are one of the rare guests that I could secure on Proudly Asian to talk about, your experience growing up in Europe. Because like we mentioned off air, finding Asians who were born and raised in Europe was so hard. It's not because they're not around, but because they tend to be a little bit more shy, demure, or might not even think that their experiences were really special. So I'm so glad that you're here with us to talk about your experience growing up in Norway.
Thank you so much for having me. I can agree to that. We're usually more chilled and just hidden somewhere, just doing our own thing.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to be here and share my story.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So, to get our listeners up to speed with who you are, we normally start off with a basic set of questions, which is, Elin, tell us about your background. Who are you? What are you? And where did you grow up?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Elin and I was born and raised in a small town in Norway called Hamar. My parents actually moved from Shanghai to Norway when they were in their 20s, just because of my grandparents, starting their work there. And I lived in this small town, Hamar, up until I moved to uni in Hong Kong. So that was until I was 20 years old. It was like everything I knew, basically. And then, my parents, they're from Shanghai, but they used to live there, but they're actually, my dad's side of the family is from Ningbo. And then my mom's side is actually from Yunnan. So we're a bit of everything.
A bit everywhere in between.
Yeah.
Asia, Europe. So Scandinavia, Norway was all you knew growing up for at least 20 years. How many languages do you speak?
I speak Norwegian, which is my first language, and then English, and then a bit of Mandarin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Trilingual.
I try.
And for our listeners, we do have a lot of listeners in the States too. So they might not be able to pinpoint where the town that you grew up in is on the map. So could you describe a little bit?
Yeah, so it's called Hamar, and it's about 90 minutes drive from Oslo. There's about 30,000 people that live there. So much less than Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And just growing up, you would look outside the window. There's no one outside. There's just no one on the streets. So moving to Hong Kong was just a huge shock. It's so many people everywhere.
Huh?
Yeah, you can't step outside without seeing anyone.
Oh my God. Yeah. So what was the surroundings around your house? Was it farmland?
Honestly, there was a lot of farmland, and it's just a lot of individual houses. There's a lot of greenery and parks. Everything is quite flat where I lived, but just very spacious, like huge pavements and space for people to walk and not get hit by a truck like here in the city.
Nice. That sounds like what Hong Kongers would need.
Yeah.
So, I mean, going back to like growing up in Hamar, like what was it like for you? Like, what did you have for breakfast and how was school life for you?
Yeah. I mean, like I mentioned before, like this little town in Norway in general was everything that I knew. Like growing up, obviously I knew I looked different, but like, you know, growing up with the culture and like the food, like I got used to that. Like eating, for example, bread every single day, like a lot of bread. Like breakfast, we eat bread and then you pack your own lunch. Like there's no
bread.
like, yeah, it was bread. Like there's no like, we grab lunch outside. Like there's nowhere to go. And then after dinner, there'll be like supper, which would also be bread.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So there was just a lot of bread. And obviously, you know, potatoes and meat cakes, a lot of seafood as well. Everyone knows Norway for salmon, right? So that was very accessible too. But yeah, I kind of just grew up eating that. So till this day, I still love my bread.
Nice. And I mean, did your family also try to introduce a little bit of like Asian food here and there as well?
Yeah. So my parents, like, because they grew up in Asia, they like really crave they need their rice, like all Asians do. So like,
did you have a rice cooker at home?
Of course, yeah, we did have a rice cooker. There was always rice inside. Like if you wanted it, there was rice, and we would have like different dishes, kind of like Shanghainese style cooking. My dad would do that. So we always had it at home and we would eat it as well. So there would be at least one meal a day that was Asian. But besides that, we also like ate bread and like we kind of adapted to the local culture and eating habits too.
Wow. So you were doubling up your carb every day.
For sure.
Nice. It's a good life.
Yeah.
And I mean, were you the only Asian family around in your town or were there others?
There were a few others, not that many though. Like I think now it's completely different. There's like Asians everywhere in my city, but at the time only like a few other families, to be honest. Yeah.
So what were they up to? Like, were they, I mean, a lot of Asian immigrants, for example, when they move to the UK or America, they might do Chinese restaurants, you know, in the food business. But what are Asian families up to, like in Norway? Yeah,
it's similar actually, because my parents, my grandfather was in shipping, so that's why we moved there. But my parents eventually also did a Chinese restaurant. Like, it's classic, right? And then, you know, the whole family working together and then like kind of like.
Did you take orders?
Well, I didn't because I wasn't born then. But then, you know, you slowly fizzle out and start to do your own thing. But yeah, I think they were doing restaurants. Some of them also were adopted. Yeah, so it's a bit different. Yeah.
Interesting. So growing up, you know, like, did you see yourself as Norwegian or Chinese? Did you know you were Chinese?
I knew I was Chinese, but I definitely felt more Norwegian just because like it's where I was born.
That's all you knew, yeah.
You know, everything around me, like just the culture. So I just felt very much Norwegian. I feel like maybe growing up, I kind of like try to push away the Chinese part of me as well, just because, you know, you just want to fit in when you're younger, right? Like you just want to do what everyone else is doing naturally. So yeah, I would say I was more Norwegian until I moved to Hong Kong. Yeah.
Oh my God.
When I got to Hong Kong, my partner Nelson, he was like, "You're basically white. Like you are like a banana, you know?" And I was like, yeah. But now I've been here for 7 years and I definitely feel
more integrated.
Yeah. And I feel more connected to my like Chinese heritage for sure.
Yeah. We'll definitely get into more of that like Hong Kong culture shock for you when you first moved to Hong Kong in a bit. But, you know, like growing up, I mean, obviously you kind of looked a bit different, but do you think you were ever treated differently or was there ever any like racism that you experienced growing up?
Well, I don't really, I don't like have like a vivid memory of like a thing that happened that was that affected me like a lot. But I think it's just more like small incidents here and there, just in terms of like, you know, people commenting like, "Oh, your eyes are so small," like, you know, those things. Yeah. And I feel like I like not understand people, but I like when people are kids, they don't really know, but then they just say things and they feel like it's just like they don't think about it. So maybe when I was younger, I was just like, I just kind of like brushed it off, if that makes sense. So it's more like the small comments about that and, you know, like let's say skin or anything like, you know, similar to like just like how I look basically. But in terms of like people treating me differently, I wouldn't say so. I don't think so. Not for me. Just because I think our town was really small, and I think
everyone kind of knew each other.
Yeah, everyone kind of knows each other. So in schools and stuff, it wasn't really like with teachers, not so much. Yeah.
Oh, that is really cool. And I mean, I do realize when I was like reaching out to like other Asians who were born and bred in Europe, like some of them in Germany and France, they also kind of like shared that experience of like not really having that blatant racism growing up, just because they thought maybe they were better integrated, they spoke the language natively like yourself.
Yeah.
So you just don't stick out like a sore thumb at school.
Exactly. Because I try, not that I try so hard, but I naturally just like, you know, like learn the language and like, you know, would do the same sports with my friends and just being quite integrated, to be honest. But I think it would be different for others who maybe like moved after they were born somewhere in Asia, and then you're like, maybe the way they speak is not fluent, and then people will kind of mock them a little bit. Because I feel like I did see that for others. There would be groups of people, of immigrants, who would just stick to themselves. And I think sometimes it's just easier for some people. And you just naturally become a bit more on the outside, if that makes sense.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like definitely as an Asian growing up, you know, in a predominantly white country, you do have to work extra hard to kind of
integrate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, I mean, definitely that like brushing off or like trying to hide the Asian side.
Yeah.
That experience is shared by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just because growing up, you just saw all of your friends who are Caucasian. They're like, oh, like, why do I not look like them a little more?
Yeah.
Like you try to dress or like do makeup in a way that's like them, but then it's never the same.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would never invite friends over to my house. Like my house is just like, it's just crazy. You know, like immigrant family house, like everything's everywhere, like just hoarding so many things. While then when I go to my friend's house, like everything's very neat, like very Scandinavian, like very pretty. So I would just never invite anyone over because I was just like too embarrassed.
It's like the Asian households are usually going for more like that practical approach.
Yeah, it's just like plastic boxes everywhere, the takeaway cutlery, you know what I mean?
The napkins.
Yeah, oh gosh.
So, I mean, eventually you moved to Hong Kong. This is where you are now. This is your home for 7 years. So, I mean, what was the thought process? Why Hong Kong?
Well, first of all, I feel like I just wanted to get away from Norway, like as far as possible. Not because I didn't enjoy it, but just because I'm just such an adventurous person. And I feel like, okay, I've kind of like seen what Europe is like. I did a year of exchange in the US. So I felt like, okay, you know, like now I want to explore Asia and I wanted to study business. So I felt like Hong Kong was the spot for me.
Oh my God, it's the best city for like everyone's so business minded.
I know, exactly. And then my grandparents, they live in Shanghai. So I could like stay close to my relatives, but not too close. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah. So I just thought, okay, I'm just going to go for it.
Nice. Yeah. So you applied for uni in Hong Kong. So, and that was 2017.
Yes.
So what was your first impression when you arrived in Hong Kong?
Well, I had visited once with my grandma a year before that, but you know, when you're visiting with your grandma, it's kind of different. But yeah, when I first got here, I was super excited. I felt like Hong Kong was such a big city, like all the skyscrapers and like you have the water, like you have all like the yachts and stuff like that. So I was like, wow, like this is crazy. And my uni was HKUST, so it was in Sai Kung. So I thought, wow, like this is like all the beaches and like all the like fishing villages. I was just like, wow, this is unreal. Like it's crazy.
You get everything in one city.
Yeah, literally everything. And I was just like, I'm never going to get sick of this place.
Exactly. I mean, like, I agree. Like, even now, like, I still find there are a lot of like new experiences to be discovered in Hong Kong. Like, I still feel like I haven't seen all of it.
Same.
Yeah. But then was there ever any like culture shock? Because obviously you would arrive in Hong Kong, people would see you, oh, you look Chinese or you look East Asian. So you must speak or you must know the culture. But that's basically the opposite of what you are.
Yeah. People always ask me like, oh, where are you from? Like, you're from Korea or like from China in uni. And I would just be like, no. But yeah, I think maybe the student life, because I expected like going to uni, you expect like, you know, you're going to do like just party and like have fun. And in Europe, like the academic is more relaxed. Like we focus a lot on extracurricular activities, sports, and just like, it's not that serious. It's not that deep. But when I came to Hong Kong, I was like, everyone was sleeping in the library. We were graded on the curve. So no one wanted to really like help you. And even though like there were a lot of international students and we would like go out and do other stuff, you kind of felt like everyone felt that pressure at some point, and we just all like started sleeping in the library as well.
Oh my God.
And I could just feel, you know, the things that you hear about like, you know, parents being very strict about school and stuff like that. I just felt like, oh, it is indeed true.
Yeah.
But that's something that my parents didn't really bring over to Norway, thankfully.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And the school that you went to, I heard there's a nickname to it, right?
Yeah, it's like the
University of like
stress and tension. And I'm just like, I chose the wrong uni. Like I saw all my friends in the UK like partying it up for the first 2 years because it doesn't count or something like that. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
it's like that here.
I still remember like when I started undergrad in Hong Kong, like people were already talking like, it's like, oh, you know, like your GPA matters, like it decides your future. I was like, wow, that sounds serious.
Yeah. It's like so scary. And yeah, obviously like, you know, internships and like, you know, the competition is just
like
crazy.
Everyone is like so intentional and planned out with the internship.
Yeah. And you always feel like you need to catch up, right? Like, oh, I secured this internship at this bank or this bank or this bank. And you're like, what am I doing with my life? So I think that part was what I was struggling with in the beginning for sure.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, of course, eventually you chose a slightly different path than your classmates in business school in Hong Kong. You kind of like started your entrepreneurial journey in F&B.
Yeah.
Tell us why. Tell us more.
Yeah, so well, I studied business and I had a few stints in like the corporate world, but I just felt like it wasn't really for me. Like I always knew I wanted to do something on my own, and when I first moved to Hong Kong, I was like so like shocked by like the diversity here when it comes to food. Like you can get anything like Thai food, Italian food, French food, like everything. And by the time I came out, I had never had like a pad thai or green curry. Like Nelson, my partner Nelson was like shocked, but I was just like eating around everywhere and just enjoying the diversity. But I couldn't really find like Nordic food, like
the taste of home.
Yeah, the taste of home. So I thought, I feel like kind of there's like a gap in the market, and I kind of want to fill it, and I also want to share the food and culture that I grew up with. So that's kind of where the idea came to life. And the location is just it's in Sheungwan, but I feel like it's such a great place for people to come in and like just take a chill, just you know. And that's what it's called Yem, which means home. So I just want people to like find a home like in the city. Yeah.
I mean, definitely I've been to the cafe. You know, like as soon as I walked into it, I was like, I stopped thinking I was in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
It was just like really cozy, warm, like very like woody type of space. But it's just, I mean, exactly like you said, it feels like home.
Well, that's nice. I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, that was our goal too. And now we've been there for about 4 years, almost 4 years. It's been crazy journey.
It's really cool.
I think F&B in Hong Kong is not easy. It's very tough. But I feel like, you know, you learn so much by doing entrepreneurship, and you learn to grow and just face any challenges, because there's been a lot.
Yeah. So what was the initial feedback or like reception, you know, from the Hong Kong crowd? You know, like obviously Scandinavian, anything, it's not something that they might be craving or actively looking for, even familiar with. So when you first started, like are people like asking, oh, what is this on the menu? Yeah,
for sure. I think it's definitely more popular today than it was like 4 years ago. But back then people were curious about it, but they didn't really exactly know what everything was. For example, we serve rye bread, which is not a traditional bread. I don't even know if they sell it anywhere in Hong Kong, because it's very thick and like it's very dense and it's a little bit dry. So people would just leave it because they didn't really enjoy it. And I think maybe from our part is also a lot about educating people about what this is, why we eat it, about Norway having a lot of seafood, fresh produce, why we like pickle a lot of things, obviously because of the weather, like just explaining a bit more basically. So it's just a lot of educating.
Yeah, it's cool though. Like I love it every time when I get to try out a new cuisine and there's more information from the restaurants or like even the servers to talk about, like why the food is the way that they are. And it helps me enjoy the food a lot more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because like your partner Nelson also started a Burmese concept in Hong Kong and now he brought it to Singapore.
Yes.
So it was really cool too because I remember on the menu that like you guys did something special with the menu.
Yeah.
Like there was a bit of storytelling around that.
For sure, yeah. I think it's important because also Burmese cuisine is very niche. And I think even though like Nordic cuisine is becoming more popular, it's still something that people don't know too much about.
That's really cool. I mean, thanks for sharing your growing up experience with us. But now, this is the hard part. We're going to move on to the next segment.
Okay.
Which is called
Rapid Fires.
Okay.
And now, for this segment, I'll be asking my guests biased questions that they got asked at some points in life. So for Elin, it would be some questions about your upbringing. So are you ready?
I am ready.
I get you. We'll get through this together.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, question 1. You are Norwegian, but you don't look Norwegian.
And you don't look like someone who would ask that.
I love that. And next question. How come your Norwegian is so good?
Have a look at my passport.
It's like, is this like something that like Norwegians would ask or?
Yeah, I think people just wonder why it's so, people would just ask me why it's so good. And I'm like, well,
because that's all you spoke growing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And next question, how can you be Norwegian if you're not blonde and blue-eyed?
This one I actually do get a lot. Norwegian people actually come in different shapes, forms, and colors. It's shocking. I know.
Yes. Like I have some friends who are like Asian Americans and then who lived in Japan. And then when they told their friends in Japan, like, oh, I'm American. And they'd be like, where's the blonde hair?
Yeah. People even come to the cafe and be like, oh, like, where's the blonde hair people here?
They would be shocked. Oh, you are the owner?
Yeah, exactly. And then one time we had a staff member that was Caucasian. And then they would be like, oh, you're the boss.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that going on in Hong Kong and Asia.
There is, yeah.
And the next question is, do you feel Norwegian or do you feel like an outsider?
Well, I feel like a Norwegian when I'm eating brown cheese and paying my taxes. And I feel like an outsider when people ask me that.
I love that. And you almost made it to the end. Final question is, why do you have a Norwegian name?
Well, my parents should have named me something more Asian to make you feel comfortable.
There you go. All right. You got through the whole rapid fire segment.
Okay.
Elin. Good job.
I did it. We made it.
Yay. And finally, for us to wrap up the episode, of course, your native language is Norwegian. So I'm sure our listeners would like to learn some of that as well. So can you teach us some?
Yeah, sure. Ha en fin dag.
Ha en fin dag.
Yeah, that means have a good day.
Ooh, that's lovely. I like that. So my next question is like for Proudly Asian, we do have a mutual online playlist on Spotify where we invite our listeners and our guests to contribute their favorite songs that either make them feel proudly Asian or it's by an Asian musician that people should know about. So I'm just wondering if you have any songs for us to add to this playlist.
I think I'll go with her. She is half Filipino and her song called Could Have Been.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
I have never heard of her music, but I am looking forward to checking it out after the recording.
You have to.
Thank you for the addition.
Of course.
Yeah, for our listeners, do check out our Spotify playlist. We're still actively adding to it and it's going to be in the episode description. So whenever you have a party, whenever you feel like, vibing with some music, click into that playlist and start playing our Proudly Asian playlist. And finally, before we go, I have one last question for you, Elin. So what does it mean to be proudly Norwegian-Chinese to you?
It means embracing both sides and not necessarily being half one or half the other, but just being 100% of both. And just being proud of that and not holding back on either sides, I guess.
Exactly. And now you're doing it by sharing your home food
Yes.
with Hong Kong, you know, the city that never sleeps. So thank you.
True. Thank you so much for
Thank
having me.
you so much for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
That's it for this episode of Proudly Asian. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at proudly.asian for more content. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Leave us a 5-star review on wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in and signing off for now. I'm Isabel Wong.